anime Reflux. I'll start releasing these at some point in the future, I think. I think I've got like 10 episodes in the can.
Jesus.
Really?
Yeah,
Might
I
as well
keep
have a marathon of
forgetting.
releasing one every day.
Yeah, I might do 2 a week for a bit until, the backlog shrinks to something reasonable. Yeah, so X-Men and stuff.
I feel really stupid that I thought this was the other X, the one where they're in high school. And
No, that's Evolution. That's the one I'm
yeah,
thinking of.
I know now.
Yeah.
I just saw X-Men and just kind of assumed.
No, this is the anime where they're trying to translate it for a Japanese audience. And they have Storm doing the moe poses, and it's really fucking weird.
Yeah. It's pretty weird.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So I don't think it's doing any like actual X-Men stuff from the comics or anything. Well, they kind of touched on the Phoenix Force stuff a little bit at the beginning, but also that
They
was
get that out of the way immediately.
kind of. But they also tied into the villain of this thing that is apparently named Mastermind. Um,
Who can
yeah,
somehow control the Phoenix Force?
yeah, that's kind of a thing that basically no one can do, which is a little.
Unless I guess unless he's just suppressing Jean, which wouldn't. I mean, that's still equally hard because she is an Omega level power, but
Let's
still
see.
a little more realistic.
Hmm. Yeah. So the show opens with uh Jean is using the Phoenix Force and everyone's trying to stop her. And then the surprise of it is that she's being controlled by someone else. And not just wreaking devastation because she's the fucking Phoenix Force. 'Cause that's generally how it
All
works.
right. So I just want to bring this up.
Mhm.
I looked it up. Mastermind is a very powerful mutant from the comics, able to create exceptionally powerful, realistic sonic illusions. He's even capable of affecting telepaths as powerful as Professor X and Jean Grey. Although to manipulate Dark Phoenix, he required an amplifying device called a mind tap mechanism provided by the White Queen that enabled him to. Yeah, so he can do that.
Oh,
Okay, fair
okay.
enough then. That's that's entirely fair. Okay, that's admittedly me not being up on my X-Men. I was never really a big fan of the X-Men to start with, so that's. I guess that is a little unfair of me. So it's fair. Yeah. So Cyclops tries to talk her out of being psychically manipulated, which is not. Well, it varies whether that works or not, but
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, sometimes that does work. So
yeah. In this case, it doesn't really. Well, it half does. She doesn't kill everyone, but she kills herself. So, yeah, or seems to. That's how that goes. So then we skip forward a year. Uh, you know, I read a fic once that literally just had Scott Summers just screaming Gene over and over again, just not really doing anything, just standing in the courtyard of the expansion and just shouting Gene over and over again.
It's in character.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's not far off from what he does in this. He spends a year sulking at her grave. A year.
yeah. So
Cyclops is my least favorite X-Men for
he's
many different
everyone's least
reasons,
favorite X-Men.
and I'm glad to see that he continues to be lame in it.
He seemed okay in the film. Well, the first film of the X-Men films, like the 2000 and something film. I forget what it's called. I think it was just called X-Men.
Yeah.
He was okay in that one, and then things got not great. But things got not great for everyone in those films, so it's, par for the course.
Days of Future Past.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen the newer ones, any of them. Since Last Stand, I didn't watch them. So, where were we? Oh yeah, time skip. The school has shut down, which seems like a shit thing to do for the students, but whatever. I hope they haven't just shut down for a year, because the whole thing was protecting mutants. So if they've just said, "No, I guess you're on your own for a little while because someone died," that's kind of shitty. But okay.
Because we're just really sad and we have an Overwatch situation going on, so we're just going to disband for a year until something obligatory happens.
The implication was that, everything totally shut down for a whole year.
Yeah.
Until Professor X found out that one Japanese girl got kidnapped, and he's like, "We gotta go!"
Well, it turns out to be more than one, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so he realizes that, and he has a dream about one kid whose mind he couldn't read, which comes off as kind of creepy, because it's like all these kids are crying around him, and he's like, "Don't worry, it's okay, everyone, it's okay." And there's one kid off to the side, and his reaction to not being able to read that one kid's mind is, "Wait, what the fuck are you? Hang on."
I think that might be his son. Because I know that in the comics, his son was a really powerful mutant.
Yeah.
And so it might be.
I mean, that might very well be true, and it is a very valid theory. But the first reaction of not being able to read someone's mind should not be mad dogging a child.
Yeah, pretty much. It's really off.
Racing after the child in my wheelchair. Either
sure
he stops or I run him over.
It's probably a dramatization, but
yeah, if it had the extra context and stuff, if that was what was actually going on in that dream, some extra context would have been really nice, rather than just him flooring it to chase after a child. But it's fine.
I'm getting
it's
the
not
feeling that this is a show that is very reliant on you having some cursory knowledge of the comics.
You can't do that. They can't do that. This is an anime. This is supposed to be translating it for a Japanese audience who don't really have access to the comics, let alone. I have a feeling that the comics industry in Japan is basically like the manga industry in the West. It's incredibly niche. If they're going to do an anime, they have to actually add the context so everyone is on the same page.
I find it odd, because I know films get dubbed over there, and so there's a lot of Marvel films over there. But referencing comic material, I'm not quite sure how much exposure Japan has to the X-Men that you can bank on.
I mean, I don't want to be painting with a broad brush here, but as far as I'm aware, a comic about people with incredible, exceptional powers, where they are encouraged to express their individuality and be their own person, I feel like that's not a message that groks well in Japan. Very much.
I feel like you just described an anime, though, so I'm not sure.
A little. There's context for those that tends to be. Yeah, they're a little bit more individual. They're allowed to be special, but they're still special working for the system, kind of thing. Whereas X-Men is kind of not that, and they're trying to upset the system and make things better for people that are, their own people, kind of thing. I'm getting a bit mishmash between the actual, words on the page and the subtext, but you know what I'm going for. I hope.
Okay, so apparently this was part of several animes that they're trying to do, which was 4 anime television series and 2 direct-to-video films produced in collaboration between Marvel Entertainment and Japanese anime studio Madhouse. So they had Iron Man, Wolverine, X-Men, and Blade that aired in Japan, and I guess 2 anime movies, which was Iron Man and then Avengers. Avengers Confidential, Black Widow, and Punisher. Okay. So this was part of a 4-pronged attack of comics, I guess.
Which does kind of reinforce my point of, hey, context would be good for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. They definitely need more context.
Yeah. Because
I suppose if they're trying to instantly get an audience, I mean, Japanese audiences have to be used to the animated version of something being a little vague on detail because they can just look into the source.
You're a little quiet, Sisa.
Oh, sorry. My mic's a little further away.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of the anime and manga industry being what it is, I assume that the Japanese audiences are a little more used to the animations being vague on details to save. So if they were ever going to hit an audience with something like this, where the person has to then search for more details, this would probably be.
I mean, at the same time, it's a little clumsy in how it's paced. Also, like the scene, like they have all of the X-Men. They page all the X-Men. We'll get back to them paging the X-Men in a second, but I just want to make the point of, like, hey, this Japanese girl went missing, and Beast is like, no, someone's like, hey, maybe machine's just busted. And Beast is like, oh, hey, maybe the machine might be busted. I'll fix that. And then they have to have another scene where Beast comes back and is like, oh, no, it's not busted, so something's just blocking it. Like, efficiency would say, hey, maybe just have the machine's broken be, nixed immediately so we don't waste time on that. Like, either just by the logic of, hey, it would be weird for the machine to only not work in this one very specific region of Japan, or just Xavier going, I know how the machine works, it's not broken, trust me, it's fine.
And I'm going to be honest, but I thought that the whole beginning part with Phoenix was going to flash backward, not forward.
What do you mean?
I felt like after they did that, they were going to flash back to or they're going to cut off and flash back to how did we get here, introducing the characters and letting us know who Mastermind and the Inner Circle are, and building to that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected
in media
too.
res instead of I'm kind of glad they didn't though, because I just do not like in media, so that's me being biased, but.
It's more like that's what I expected, but instead they flashed forward, and now we're left with a lot of questions.
Like, why is the school closed for a year? Yeah, a lot of questions.
Yeah.
In fairness, I guess maybe that's a question that Japanese audience wouldn't ask because they don't know it's a school for protecting mutants from humans who hate them, I guess.
Except they literally describe that, like word for word, what you just said.
Yeah, they do tell that.
That's true. They did do that. Yeah.
I do want to say, when they're sending the summoning thing out of emergency and they're going and getting everybody, I really like that when they're going to get Wolverine, he's stuck at the metal detector. It's one of my favorite gags in any X-Men material. It's Wolverine in the metal detector, and he's like stripped of like all of his clothes. Like, I don't have any more metal that I can take off. I took everything off. But you must have something. The metal detector It's still going. He's like, I can't take these off, and shows his claws.
Which probably doesn't help when you do it that threateningly, but
No, when you're literally
very
shoving,
fitting.
blades into an attendant's, well, not even attendant, it's probably a fucking security guard technically, because they're at the metal detector station. But yeah, that's not a great move. That's. I feel like a lot of the mutant hate might be because of Wolverine just trying to get through the fucking airport, to be honest.
I'm trying to go on every time I try to go on vacation, this happens.
Yeah. So they all get summoned. Wolverine's doing that shit, and he takes a call in the middle of menacing a TSA agent. And we have Storm
was fighting pirates.
Yeah. And everyone is super jazzed
Storm.
about the mutant that just killed a bunch of guys. Which is weird. Kind of.
Yeah, she kind of just... She froze their ship, and then I didn't see them. So I'm guessing they were frozen solid, too.
Yeah. And then, yeah, everyone's super jazzed about it and knows who she is and doesn't care that she's a mutant in the slightest and is super on board with the whole mutant thing, which is kind of... They just pretty consistently undermine the whole mutants, pariahs thing through the whole episode a little bit.
There's not really a single moment except for Wolverine waving his claws in that woman's face. Because, like, you have Beast who's teaching his class, and everybody likes him. You have Storm who just murders people in front of these, cruise ship people, and they're totally like, yeah! Awesome! I love the X-Men!
Yeah, she gets like a standing ovation. That was not one person, wow, I'm terrified of you.
Yeah.
And then you have Scott Summer, Cyclops, who's just like, hey, I'm just gonna yell Gene in this really awesome designed graveyard for a while.
It is literally metal.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's actually a graveyard or if it's just literally where she died.
I think it's literally where she died.
I mean,
it looks really
graveyard.
Yeah. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah. And Wolverine shows up and he's like, hey, shit ass, let's fucking go. And Scott's like, gee!
You've been crying for a year. I'm serious, if she could see you right now, she would really, really regret falling for you because you're acting like a total loser.
Yeah.
And then he fires a laser at him.
And that was a nice way of wording it. He's just an asshole about it.
Yes.
It's pretty fitting for, Wolverine.
Well, people are in danger and doesn't have time to deal with
feelings.
Over a year of mourning. By himself.
God. I can't really say it's not accurate, but good God. Yeah.
I mean, okay. A death is very, very tragic. But considering that the way this anime is paced, we have, outside knowledge regardless, we have no reason to really care.
Yeah, this really banks on you knowing these characters and caring about them already, which is baffling considering this is the foray in the Japanese market.
If you don't know anything about Cyclops and Jean, right? Oh, that character died. Okay, get over it. You don't know that whatever bond they may have had, and there's no resonance for you, no emotional resonance.
Yeah, not that there was much of one anyway. Even if you do have the context, like
they could have built something for this show at least.
Yeah, they could have done. Like literally every fanfic I've ever read that had the X-Men was like Jean is just like, yeah, I guess he's okay. I don't really care. He's fine. Even in the films, it was like, yeah, I guess, sure. He's all right. Not Wolverine though. I'm spoken for. But that Wolverine though.
That sums it up perfectly. Her attraction to Wolverine is always the dirty secret, basically.
Yeah. But he shows up anyway because after this doesn't really make anyone look good because after a year of mourning, the X-Men show up, tell him to get his head out of his ass, and then leave, and then he shows up and he's like, "Yeah, okay, let's do this shit." So that also just implies that the X-Men have just basically left him alone for a year.
I'm sure that they sent him an invitation to the Christmas party.
What Christmas party? The school's closed. For a
I
year.
know, that's why we're gonna have a party. Closed for a year for Christmas party.
Yeah. So then they fly to Japan. Oh, and we skip the scene where Armor appears for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Where she gets kidnapped.
Japanese girl gets kidnapped and she summons like this crazy alien-looking energy armor, and but it's too late because she already got shot with the syringe that basically, boop, you're out.
Which is a little justified considering it's later revealed she's only used her powers a whopping one time. So her being a little late on the draw on that would make sense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the episode. I can't really fully tell whether this is just kind of poor or if it's just trying to translate the whole concept of the X-Men for a Japanese audience, and it's jarring for me as a Western viewer, or if it's a little bit of both, because it doesn't seem to be doing a particularly good job of translating it for a Japanese audience either.
This is kind of one of those times I wish I knew someone who was Japanese and could give us the Japanese take on watching this.
Yeah, because
the format is decidedly Japanese. There's a lot of questions and there's not a lot of answers, but I'm not sure if that's what they're used to. So it's normal or what?
I'm kind of assuming that a lot of the X-Men movies have been dubbed in Japanese and are there, but I feel like even the American X-Men shows have always built kind of who these characters are first before just jumping right into it.
I mean, they've got a 13-episode run. I feel like what they wanted to do with this was make it, but that also isn't great. They wanted to do like just a single long-running adventure of them going to investigate this one case and fighting this one villain and not doing a whole X-Men thing. But that's also not great because that requires people to have at least a general idea of what the X-Men are about. Yeah. I don't know.
It's just called X-Men anime, you know. It's not called. It doesn't have a subtitle, so it's obviously the first one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it feels like the concept is at odds with the concept of what they were trying to do. What they were trying to do was at odds with the story they were telling.
Okay.
Goddamn, Storm doing those moe poses though was really fucking weird. Like,
so this.
Ooh, I'm so distraught. I'm gonna squish my boobs together. That's a thing Storm would do.
I didn't actually notice that.
So.
Yeah.
This never got a second season.
Quelle surprise.
And it's kind of funny because the post-credit scene of episode 12 is Magneto escaping his prison.
Who's that guy?
Oh.
Hey!
Please tell me he's a little more built up in this one. just having him revealed and then let loose. I don't know, some implication that he's a threat would be just hilarious.
In the summaries for the other episodes, I don't see any mention of Meg.
That's pretty bad.
I mean, if Magneto was in prison, that they could have done stuff with that. Like, just have him appear in an episode and have it be like Silence of the Lambsy kind of thing. Xavier going to ask him for help because mutants are getting kidnapped, and Magneto would be totally on board with actually helping with that. But also, he's a creepy asshole who's all mutant supremacy. They could have done stuff. Let's not talk about missed opportunities for the show. That's not really.
There's a lot of commentary that they could do in this show. I mean, Japan has never been shy of symbolism, being really blatant about it.
Mm. I kind of wish the show was better than it was, but considering the pretty mercenary thing they were going for here of just let's do Japan, and feels like they kind of didn't actually consult that much about doing things the Japanese way, except, moe poses.
Look, you can't have a magical female character without her doing Japanese moe poses. Just you have.
Yeah. It feels like the Western production team were very unnecessarily hands-on with this, and to the show's detriment. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. The animation, though, for the most part, looks pretty good.
Considering it didn't get a second season, it's only 13 episodes. An entire first episode was this slow paced. I don't think I could even really recommend it.
Not so much.
Probably just ultimately lead to disappointment.
Oh well. Rolling?
Yeah, let's roll. Get my nice rolly website. Come on, number generator, show up. Thank you. Out of 26, we have 23.
23. Why is it always the end of the list? I don't know.
Sometimes it's the beginning.
X again.
X-Men 2. What do we got in there?
We have 6.
What about X as a category? 5.
Hey, who wants to do more Chinese anime?
Yay!
See, that's I don't know. Chinese are weird anime, but they can sometimes be good.
Oh, this one's got 2 seasons, so that's probably a good sign.
It can be a little bit harder for me to listen to.
Yeah, it's really, like, Japanese you can slowly pick it up. I feel like Chinese you really can't, because having tone be part of the language is just not a thing. The Latin and Greek language subsets can really just get their heads around.
I didn't realize that was a thing. That's good to know going in.
Yeah, there's I forget what it was, but there's like a Chinese sentence that is to a Western reader just the same word like 10 times over, like that buffalo, buffalo, buffalo thing. But
yeah,
also every single one is a different tone.
This is
No.
This is anime. Is the length okay? Just double check.
Mm. Oh, it is called Xing Chen Bian. Xing Chen Bian. That's what it is. It's my stomach is grubber. I haven't eaten yet. In in a galaxy far away, there is a kid without innate ability to practice internal techniques. So, in order to gain the respect of his father, he resolutely chooses to follow the more difficult and painful path of practicing external techniques. As the years go by, he grows up, but what really changes his life is a mysterious meteoric crystal stone, the meteoric tear. This stone fuses with the young man's body unnoticed, and he seems to undergo drastic transformations as a result. After that, everything is changed. Eventually, his father knows that the son, for whom he hasn't really shown a lot of consideration, possesses astonishing abilities, and there's a lot more to come. My stomach won't shut the fuck up. I'm kind
Please define what internal and external techniques are. I don't know
I
what
have
that
to
means.
assume internal means chi and external just means martial arts.
That is usually how these things happen.
Gosh, Wuxia is weird.
Wuxia.
Whoosh. Thank you. I've never actually heard it said before.
I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. I will double check for your sake, because I don't actually care, but okay. Wuxia.
In a galaxy far
okay.
away.
I'll Google Wuxia pronunciation, because just putting Wuxia just gives me a bunch of stuff about fucking.
Bless you.
That's how you pronounce Wuxia, by the way. I'm trying to read how it's pronounced, but I keep getting pop-ups about fucking cookies, because that's important to what I'm looking for. When I look at a dictionary, I want to know that they are collecting information on me from fucking websites I visit. That is important. That's why I go to dictionary websites. Fucking Christ. Hang on. For everyone's sake.
Wuxia.
Wuxia. There you go.
Okay.
It played it over my speakers.
Wow, I actually heard your stomach grumble before you said that.
I keep saying, I'm hungry. I can't help it. God damn. Yeah. So, this is probably a Wuxia story, kind of. But maybe corrupts the Wuxia story, because Wuxia is kind of a different thing to you get superpowers from alien thing. That's not really the same thing. I'm really talking out of my arse here. Yeah, is this good for
It helps him with his cultivation.
Yeah, that. God damn it, stomach, shut up. Is this 20 minutes? Is this good to do?
Yeah, it's been 40 minutes.
No, I mean, the episode of the anime is that 20 minutes?
Let me double check.
Yeah, you said you were checking that like 5 minutes ago. So
I asked you guys because I had my browser closed, so I didn't, cause any connection
I
problems.
can't check, because that would start the episode and it'd play my speakers.
Let me open that up. Alrighty. Let's see. First episode is load. 25 minutes and 24 seconds.
Cool.
All right, we're good.
Let's do some Chinese anime about... We don't know what the fuck it's about. It didn't really actually say that much. Just, he gets a meteorite
He gets
thing.
hit with the meteor, and then he's like, now I can do the martial arts.
Now I can do things and not explain what the actual plot of the show is. Great.
Yeah, it feels about standard.
Great. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that actually does sound like the plot for Shansha of cultivation and stuff of be powerful and get more powerful and maybe stuff will happen. It tends to be how they work.
You can get more powerful than everyone else because you have a special advantage that nobody else gets that you don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, that's also a lot of shonen anime, but whatever. So, yeah. Shin Chenbian is what we're doing next week. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
I say next week. It might be like 3 days from now if I change it. I don't fucking know. I'm so bad.
Release them. Release the last episode.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.